A very good morning, Rose. I'm a few minutes into my speed walking. I'm on my way now to my training session. Today is the full body workout, which I'm looking forward to. Yesterday, I was somewhat exhausted. I didn't get much sleep. And long story that I won't go into because I'm not gonna otherwise have time to talk about what I'm actually intending to talk about. But anyway, what a difference a day makes. Yesterday it was gloomy, miserable and raining, and today the sun's shining, and I'm wearing 2 hoodies rather than one, because as we get deeper and deeper into winter, I add more clothing. But it's not quite the type of weather that one requires a coat. I don't think anyway. Anyways, so what I want to talk about this morning is not so much the World Cup, but attitudes of the Westerners who wish to enforce themselves on, well, using the Kuwaitis as the Qataris as the example, but on other peoples who are not Westerners or share their Western standards, if you want to call them standards. Now, my thing is this. Something doesn't have to happen to you for you to know what lays ahead of you should you pursue a certain path. And anybody who thinks that Western standards are something to aspire to only need to look at the state that Westerners are in. What price freedom? In the book, We Exist Why, I wrote a passage and I use a banana as the example to say that while we are at liberty to eat the banana in its entirety, wisdom has taught us that a banana is best peeled and consumed. You don't eat the skin, you discard it. But it seems that in today's society, people are determined to eat the skin and discard the banana, right? So that's what is in store for anybody who thinks that as is, Western standards are something to aspire to. I have lived in the West all my life. I don't know if back in the 70s, I don't know if back in the 70s, Jamaica was considered a westernized country. I have no idea. But back then, where we lived in the country, buses used to come, if we were lucky, 3 times a day, usually twice. And the only form of plumbing that we had was a standpipe in the yard, and also the electricity we left in 1977, September 1977. And it was then that electricity, the day we were leaving, they were putting up the cables for the electricity into said area in which we lived. So the whole time we were there, we survived as would be perceived by primitive means. And so one of the things that, not so much that I struggle to understand, but because even as children, we were mindful that the children here were soft in comparison to us. Whereas on a Saturday, they were out playing and would be knocking the door, inviting us out to play. We were anxiously engaged doing housework because that's what we did in Jamaica on a Saturday. We all had our duties, in fact, every day before we went to school. we all had our duties. We knew what we had to do, and we got on and we did that. Whereas here, especially nowadays, childhood seems to have been extended into middle age almost. Right, so let's just say that as far as these things go, not so much that I can't relate. I see and I understand, but we were not raised that way. So I'm not sure if you would have heard Mr. Harry Kane and Mr. Gareth Southgate, the England captain and manager, respectively, talking about kneeling and wearing rainbow-colored armbands. What was interesting coming from the manager, Mr. Southgate, was that they're doing it, the kneeling thing, to set an example, to touch children. And of course, as I've just explained, that's where it starts. Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will never depart. Right, so this is why they're after the children, because you train them up, and heaven help those who are still alive in the next couple of generations when those children grow up. So, all of this, black is white, white is black, day is night, night and day, night is day, fat is thin, thin is fat, insane is sane, insane is insane kind of mentality is only going to bring down society. Right, society is practically on its knees at the moment anyway. And this is what these arrogant people are wishing to export to what they regard as the primitive world. I don't have time or the language to express how witnessing all of this is affecting me spiritually. I won't say in a negative way, you know what I mean, it's sort of like making me weak or anything. But it's just, you know, the hymn Onward Christian Soldiers Marching Us to War. This is where you can actually see that we are indeed engaged in spiritual warfare. It's not just a battle for minds. It's a battle for the soul of man, as it were. I took yesterday off because I'm worth it. Or rather, my intention was to take 2 or 3 days off, but I'm already restless, so I think I'm just gonna start working again today. But you know, at my leisure. Right. I mean, you can actually, it's just in your face. And anybody who is in their right mind, I was posting like nobody's business last night on Facebook, because that's all I did once I returned from delivering and hanging curtains. It was literally all day. I returned, I think, just as England versus Iran kicked off. So it's about 1 o'clock that I got back. So it was all football matches and sleeping. And, you know, posting on Facebook in between. But I tell you, the level of arrogance. I saw that the Iranian fans were booing the anthem, and not just the fans, but apparently, I didn't actually see this, but that the players, the Iranian players, didn't sing the national anthem in protest at their government. Now, the thing is, like I've always said, from day one when I first went on Facebook and I asked what are your religious views. My religious views are that God and politics don't mix. And in the same way, I would say sports and politics don't mix. I used to love playing sports, and I still perhaps would if opportunity permitted, right? At no point do I look at it as a means to get advantage over anybody, politically or otherwise. Not that I'm a top-level sports person, but were I a top-level sports person, I would be livid to be expected to go along with the agenda to say things that I don't actually believe, and especially with the kneeling. Now seems to be a very good time for black people, but historically, we can go way back. Black people have always been used as useful idiots. But I used to do like background work, extras work, and now would be a very good time for me because all the adverts, all the TV shows, everything, they're just sort of cramming them with black people. But I have to tell you, I am frankly embarrassed by that. There is no way on earth that I would put myself in that arena because it is embarrassing. The overrepresentation, and also the fact that I would be, if you like, helping to push forward an agenda that I don't support. So they're trying to all right, I'm approaching my the fitness studio, so I'm gonna sort of leave that there and just finish by saying that the other day, I think it was on Sunday, I came across a video with some Argentinian fans mocking. People would say it's outrageous and disgraceful, but I didn't say anything as far as nationality goes. That was wrong. So they were chanting about France, the team being made up of Angolans. They're all Angolans from Angola, and their mothers are Nigerians, and all of this thing. And I mean, did they say something wrong? The way they expressed it might not necessarily be for everybody's taste. But is this thing where we're not supposed to hurt people's feelings? But human beings have been made so weak that it's impossible to not hurt their feelings. And so, with all of this, even though in this society they talk about being kind and all this nonsense, they are hardly being kind in their attitude towards not just Qataris, but to Muslims, whatever happened to live and let live. If they didn't want the World Cup to be held in a Muslim state, why did they give it to them? They gave it to them because of money, right? So they love their money, but they do not love their traditions, their culture, and their morals, right? So I haven't said everything that I wanted to say because I got here a bit quicker than I should have, or I expected to. So I'll leave that there. Take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye.